Have you ever noticed that when everything around you starts spinning out of control, maybe it's a heated argument at work or a family crisis, you're the one who suddenly feels incredibly still? While everyone else is escalating, you're just standing there, processing. People might have called you cold or even scary because you aren't panicking with them, but there's a deeper psychological reason for that stillness. You aren't indifferent, you're a rational anchor. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a trait that is often misunderstood as being detached, but is actually a sign of a very specific kind of mental strength. If you've ever been told you're too calm when things get intense, you probably didn't realize that your brain is just wired differently. People call you intimidating when they can't get a rise out of you, but the truth is, you're just not performing for them. Let's look at the first sign you're a rational anchor. You don't match the volume of the room. In most social environments, there's an unspoken rule that the louder your emotions are, the more people trust that you care. When someone is yelling or stressed, they usually expect emotional mirroring. Basically, they want you to get as upset as they are so they don't feel alone in their distress. But you don't have that reflex. To you, staying calm and responding from the rational part of your mind is how you actually solve the problem. While they see coldness, what you're actually doing is refusing to make a bad situation worse by losing your composure. The second sign is that your silence is actually productive. Most people treat a gap in conversation like a mistake that needs to be fixed immediately, and research shows that just a few seconds of unexpected silence can trigger an anxiety response in others. But as a rational anchor, you use that silence to think. To the person across from you, your quietness feels like a verdict, and they start wondering what you're judging, but in reality, you're just processing the data. You're comfortable sitting in the quiet because you don't need to fill the air with noise just to feel safe. This leads right into the third sign. You process on a deeper track. It's not that you're hesitating to speak, it's that your brain actually uses longer, more complex neural pathways to process information before you respond. While everyone else is reacting to the surface-level drama, you're absorbing the full picture, the shifts in posture, the things people are trying not to say, and the actual root of the conflict. You're reading the room while everyone else is trying to dominate it, and that depth can feel like exposure to people who aren't ready to be seen so clearly. The fourth sign is that you ask the questions nobody else wants to answer. When things are high stress, people usually stick to social handshakes, those safe, surface-level phrases that don't go too deep. You tend to skip past that. You might ask one question that cuts right through the noise, and suddenly the energy in the room shifts. It's not that you're trying to be intense, you're just genuinely curious about the real answer. To others, this feels like you're putting them under a microscope, but for you, it's just the most logical way to navigate the chaos. Finally, the biggest sign you're a rational anchor is that you don't need the room's approval to stay steady. This is the one that really unsettles people. Most social dynamics run on a validation exchange where everyone agrees to play a certain role to keep the peace. Because you can sit with your own thoughts and feel genuinely content, you don't play the game of performing neediness or seeking external validation. You aren't trying to trigger anyone's insecurities, you're just completely self-sufficient. When people can't pressure you or predict your reaction, they call you intimidating, but what they're really seeing is someone they simply can't control. Being a rational anchor isn't about being broken or robotic. In a world where almost everyone is performing, your ability to stay rational and discernment is actually quite rare. The right people will eventually realize that you weren't being cold. You were just the only person in the room who didn't need them to feel okay. So, which of these signs hit closest to home for you? Do you find that your calm during a storm makes people more stressed, or have you found people who actually appreciate your anchor energy? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And if you have a friend who's always being called too intense for just being themselves, send this their way. It might just help them understand their own power. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.